it's me, and this is part 2 of Stupidity in the Gamosphere. I really didn't want to make this video. I thought I was done documenting stupidity in the Gamosphere, but apparently people are still being dumbasses, so let's dive into it. In this episode, we'll be dealing with Sony's damage control, Capcom's bullshit, and finally, a little bit of good news that I really want people to keep in mind. Like, really keep this in mind. It's going to be a shocker to you. So, after the cut, we'll start with the first segment. Alright, so here we go with the news. Once again, Sony is spiraling off into damage control mode. I got this news from playeressence.com. Sony is damage controlling their bullshit. And here it is. First of all, the legacy platform, because we got to talk about that, okay? A Sony spokesperson has clarified Andrew House's legacy platform statement about the PS Vita made to investors recently. The firm says they still plan to support the platform through PS4 remote play and new content. Get Sony's full statement below. What Andy mentioned as a legacy platform was a part of the write-off the PS Vita component for the first generation of PS Vita, which is no longer available in the market. A Sony spokesperson said in a statement provided to GamesBeat. And he did not directly mean the current PS Vita and the PS TV models, which flopped spectacularly, which are available in the market. Our portable business will be continued, and many users are now enjoying PS4 remote play features, as well as the original PS Vita game titles on PS Vita and PS TV. Oh my god, ugh, so much bullshit. Okay, my take on this. Basically, Sony doesn't want to alarm people. Here's what people need to understand. How can I put this in terms that anyone can understand? Okay, alright. Let's contrast and compare. Because that is how human beings learn, by categorizing, measuring, and observing things. Nintendo, arguably the best first-party developers in the industry. When I say first-party developers, I mean also a console manufacturer and a developer. Arguably the best first-party developers in the industry. Then it's debatable, but there's more evidence for it than against it, that they're also just the best developers in the industry, period. So that leads us to this simple fact. Nintendo has difficulties juggling their handheld and their console. They've always had difficulties doing that. They had difficulties juggling the Game Boy and the NES, the Game Boy, the Game Boy Color and the SNES, the Game Boy Advance and the N64 and the GameCube, the Nintendo DS and the Wii, 3DS and the Wii U / Wii. I mean, and they're the best at what they do. They're the pinnacle of developers and creativity and IPs and shit like that. So if the best developers in the industry have difficulty balancing these two opposing forces, then what do you think a mediocre ass first party developer like Sony in supporting these two consoles? I mean, if it's hard for Nintendo, Sony can't do it. They don't have the skill for it. Just contrasting and comparing. So I find it amusing and a little bit on the hilarious side that now they're like, oh well, you know, we were talking about. Look, the Vita, except for Japan, is dead. Okay, it's dead. You have people in Europe. Well, we're gonna look. Okay, look. A console lives or dies. Well, actually, not just a console. I take that back. Any and all businesses, as a business owner, a business lives or dies by its exclusive content, i.e., what do you provide that no one else has going for them at all? That is what you live or die on as a developer. Okay? And I know what some people are going to say. They're going to be like, what do you mean, exclusive? I mean, like, okay. When I opened up my first location, I literally had several places. There were literally like 5 other bars around me, okay, that served basically the same stuff. You could get Miller Lite, Bud Light, Budweiser, Miller High Life, and, you know, some craft beers, shitty buffalo wings, maybe some pizza, a sandwich, some fries. And I can tell you right now, 3 of those places went out of business because they basically were the same place. There was nothing to differentiate them from the other places. The 2 places that stayed open, aside from me, is a place that does a really good, that offers live music Tuesdays and Fridays every week. Local bands and some like mid-level local like regional big bands that come in and do live shows, and that's when they make a lot of their money, is those shows. They charge you to get in, and plus you get charged at the door. You also like for tickets and stuff, you also get charged for beverage, for booze and stuff like that. But they have deals like $50, you get to dinner for 2, stuff like that. And the other place provides a higher end bar experience, for lack of a better term. Something you don't get in a lot of other places. The reason I still have that location is because I'm a barcade. So you can come in and get your shitty chicken, your shitty buffalo wings, your fries. Well, our buffalo wings are actually pretty good. Your fries, your buffalo wings, your burgers, your sandwiches, stuff like that. We tried pizza, but if you don't have a brick oven or a wood fire oven, don't do pizza. But I also have 20 arcade machines for people to play, and 5 pinball machines. So I mean, that's my in. That's my hook. Now, that no one else has that. So I mean, people. And here's the thing: my exclusive things that are at my business bring up all the other local businesses, because people come by. There's a comic book shop / record shop literally on the same block as me. Their business went up when my business came there. Their business has stayed up since my business has been there, and vice versa. When they have their record appreciation day every month and foot traffic comes in, my business goes up because people are coming there for the records and like, hey, there's a place that has video games, that has arcade machines. I might want to go in there. People go in there, have a beer, buy a plate of chicken wings, and play some games. You know, I mean, really making money, okay? Because of my exclusive content. Now with Sony, you're looking at a lot of multi-plats. And here's the thing: if you aren't willing to invest in having something that no one else has in your business, then why the fuck should someone on the outside who doesn't have a vested interest in your business doing well give a fuck about doing anything to make your business run well? And therein lies the problem with Sony right now. For so long, they propped up a broken division. Yes, the Sony division was broken. They didn't make money on the PlayStation division, and during the first gen, the second gen, damn sure not on the 3rd gen. And now the 4th gen, they're making a little bit of profit, but they're losing money hatting. It's literally money hatting is like a meth addict. You know, it's like, this is making my teeth fall out of my mouth, but I can't stop doing it. It's sad. It's sad, and hopefully Sony can get their shit together, but knowing Sony, probably not. Sorry to leave you on a downer with that segment, but what can I say? I mean, shit, Sony been fucking up. The 2 segments, the information for this segment was gotten from playeressence.com, run by Furious Francis, who also is a member of the GNL. So you guys should go to playeressence.com. Great news, unbiased, great. On to the next segment after the cut. All right, this next segment comes to us from, once again, playeressence.com. This is Capcom. This is Capcom's bullshit. As we all know, Capcom is broke. The money hatting that they got from Sony and just bad financial decisions they made during the 7th gen took a double toll on them when Sony ran out of the ability to money hat, and the bad investments didn't pan out. So now they're once again getting in bed with Sony because apparently having caught gonorrhea from Sony that first time and it burning when they have to pee wasn't enough. They're gonna go back again for a second helping. And they got screwed again. Basically, Sony paid a very low quality studio to port Ultra Street Fighter 4 to the PS4. The problem is that Ultra Street Fighter 4, the port is piss poor. I mean, it is a pile of dog shit. And, you know, I can't say I'm surprised because, I mean, people don't seem to understand this. Sony is in cost-cutting mode. They are trying their best to get the most bang for their buck. But here's the thing. When you're in business, there's a certain thing called a sunk cost. It's like you're just going to have to spend that money, right? It's like, okay, I have to, whenever I get a new arcade machine, it's in my best interest to pay my, I won't say my team. I have a contract with this TV repair place that also does, the guy also knows how to repair and maintain arcade machines and pinball machines. So it's in my interest to pay that guy his $100 fee. He comes out, he looks at it, tells me if anything needs to get fixed. If it meets my deductible with him, I think it's like $500, he'll repair it. It's worth my time and money to have that guy look over it. And yes, it's $100, but that's a sunk cost because it's better for me to find something wrong with the machine now than to have it out there in the middle, like on the second floor of my second location, and be like, you know, first of all, getting an arcade machine up a flight of steps until we put in a dumbwaiter. It's not so much a dumbwaiter, it's actually literally an elevator in the back so that we can go up to the second floor. It's worth my time and energy to get that shit done. It's cheaper for me to spend $100 now than to wait until there's an issue and someone's like, I lost my money, or it gets broken, or it shorts out and electrocutes someone. That can actually happen. It's worth, I mean, that's a sunk cost. That's just the cost of doing business. I have to pay my insurance, my employees' insurance. I have to pay to keep the lights on even when I'm not really using it. I have to pay for certain things. Just, of course, I have to. Okay? I have a storage place that I store a lot of my machines that either are not being used or need to be repaired, and like the guy can only do so many machines at a time. I have to pay that every month. Actually, I pay it by the year. print check and pay it by the year. It's much easier to pay that shit yearly, then it's out of your head. You don't have to scrounge up everything. But, I mean, that's a sunk cost. That's just the cost of fucking doing business. You gotta, I mean, there's certain things. Every business has the cost of doing business. If you are a filmmaker, you gotta pay for maintenance and upkeep of your equipment. If you are a musician, you gotta pay for maintenance and upkeep of your equipment. If you are a photographer, you gotta pay for maintenance and upkeep of your equipment. Every single business, you have to, there's a sunk cost. Even when you don't own a business. Like, if you work in a field where you have to wear suits every day, you have to purchase suits. Suits are not cheap. When I worked on Capitol Hill, I had a wardrobe full of suits and sports jackets and fine dress slacks and button-down shirts and tons of ties. That was not cheap. I had to basically ask my parents to help me pay for it. That was a sunk cost for them because they want to help me out, okay? Okay, there's just the cost of doing fucking business, okay? And, you know, Capcom didn't understand that. Neither did Sony. Capcom thought they could save some money and make Sony pay for it. Sony doesn't have the resources, and I wouldn't trust them to handle something like that because now the brand has been damaged. And when your brand is damaged, I mean, the same reason Marvel went to Sony and said, hey, we got to take this shit away from you because you fucking up the brand. At a certain point, it becomes less about money and more about the brand. When you damage the brand, there's a problem. Capcom got in bed with the devil, though, so don't be surprised when you pee and it shoots fire, okay? So, they pulled Super Street Fighter 4 from the Super Street Fighter 4 competition, the Evo, whatever, the fighting thing. They pulled it because the PS4 version of the game is garbage. Absolute and total garbage. And that's a damn shame because, well, actually, it's not a shame. Capcom got what it deserved. Because, believe it or not, it probably would have been cheaper for Capcom to take, I don't know how large the Street Fighter team, 5 team is. It would have been cheaper for them to take 4 or 5 people off of that team, have them work on Super Street Fighter 4. Because here's the thing, they already have the code. All they had to do was take 4 or 5 people and say, we need you to port this over to the PS4. That would have been cheaper. Or even better, just take the Street Fighter 5 team, pull them off of Street Fighter 5 for a little bit, work on porting Street Fighter 4 to PS4 for the Ultra Edition. That would have made more sense than, because, I mean, they are more intimately familiar with the code and porting it to different devices than some no-name studio that's cheap. But that's what Capcom gets for getting in bed with Sony. And this is proof positive that you should really be careful with getting in deals with Sony. I mean, it's like no one learned their lesson from the original PlayStation Nintendo debacle from so many years ago. No one learned their damn lesson. And that's a damn shame in Japan, because you'd think these people would figure out that sometimes it's better to go shit alone than to get in bed with the devil. On to the next topic. The next segment, which is actually a very good topic. After the cut. Alright, this next segment is actually good news. I found this segment on GoNintendo.com, and it's actually really good news. So without further ado, let's get down to it. This bit of news is from GoNintendo.com. The original website that I got this from is GoNintendo.com, but if you click on the link, and I'll leave a link to GoNintendo.com, and the link where it actually goes to BusinessFinancialPost.com, and it's basically this guy who interviewed his 10-year-old daughter about Splatoon. That's right, Splatoon. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but this guy asked some really good questions, and his daughter gets to the Nintendo bias with, you know, she really gets to it. And here's what she says. Here's one of the questions that he asks his daughter, and she really gets down to it. He says, do you think you'd like to try a shooter that's more of an every player for themselves kind of thing? And she says, no, as I explained before, Dad, I like to have teammates I can rely on. That's all I have to say about that. And then he says, gotcha, now that you've played an online shooter, do you think it justifies all the schoolyard hubbub? And she's like, yeah, I think so. I really like Splatoon a lot, but I feel like if I told the other kids that I was playing Splatoon, they might not think it was all that great. Because it's Nintendo, and they think Nintendo is for kids. And it doesn't have blood and guts, and even if it was fun, they wouldn't admit it, because they want to seem more grown up. But I don't care, because Nintendo games are adorable and fun. Especially this one. And he goes on to say, so it sounds like Splatoon was a big hit with you. Yes, I know we're not really reviewing it, but if you're looking for a score, I'd give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's great. Holy shit. A 10-year-old girl managed to encapsulate the entire anti-Nintendo bias in a paragraph, answering one question. Amazing. I'm not going to go into the whole interview. It's really insightful. It's really good. It's amazing that a 10-year-old, because, I mean, as adults, we think that 10-year-old, you're just a kid, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Children are more perceptive than you might think. But I'm going to leave a link in the description field about this article. And I want people to really think about what was said in that interview. And the article. I want you to really think about it and ponder it and query it. And think about it while you're playing Splatoon this weekend, if you're playing it. Think about why you play games. Do you play games to be impressive, to hang out with your friends, or do you play games because they're fun? Because last time I checked, I played games because they were fun. I don't give a fuck about my friends. If they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, fuck them, I'm gonna have fun. Gaming, the ultimate selfish activity. Well, there's another selfish activity that's more fun than gaming, but still! Gaming, one of the ultimate selfish activities. So with that, I bid you guys adieu. Stay tuned. This Friday, I will be doing a podcast. We'll be detailing the final bits of Daredevil, the Netflix series, and gushing, waxing poetic about it. But before we do any of that, we'll be talking about Splatoon, because obviously we have to talk about Splatoon, because it's fucking Splatoon. So with all that being said, the links for all of my segments will be in the description field, so look forward to that, and I bid you adieu.